Hey guys, I've been playing a lot of World of Warships recently for about 7 months, and I decided to make a video on ranking tier 9 cruisers. I chose tier 9 because my first clan battles was on tier 9 in the beginning of the year, and chose cruisers because that's the class I'm most comfortable with, the one I play the most by a landslide. I'll be ranking these ships for competitive environment, so clan battles for example. I'll be considering their firepower, tankiness, utility, and concealment. To give you an example of what would be considered an S tier ship, it would have to be something amazing, godlike, like the FDR or the Småland, or maybe the Georgia and Musashi could fit in there as well, things like that. But when it comes to F tier, it would have to be basically unplayable, completely trash. Something that comes to mind when it comes to that is the Kansas. I'll be starting with the Ibuki. The Ibuki is an AG spamming kiting ship. It has pretty okay damage and good fire chance when it comes to the main guns. It also has 10-kilometer torpedoes that pack quite the punch because they're Japanese. But your concealment, I don't have the spec for concealment, but it goes all the way to 9.9, which gives you 100 meters of stealth torps, which is basically useless. So for you to hit torps, the ships either have to be standing still, but basically they have to be walking into you. When it comes to armor, the Ibuki has 25mm bow, which makes you susceptible to everything, every battleship in the game. That's tier 9 basically. You can bounce anything. 27mm side plating, which is pretty weak. You can bounce 406s, which is the most competitive caliber, that and above for tier 9. You have a 32mm deck, which is pretty nice. You have a 27 up here, which kind of sucks, so you lose a lot of 406 spans up here. Your citadel is okay-ish, I would say. You have a nice angle down here, back here. These weird elevations make you eat a lot of weird citadels while kiting, because you'll be overmatched through here from battleships, basically, and the shot will, if it hits here, well, you're kind of screwed eating a citadel. Same thing on the front. But besides that, you have this kind of turtle back here, a bit exposed on the side, but it's okay-ish. Your health is the lowest of any cruiser besides the Wukong, and that's basically a copy shit, so I'm not considering it. So you have the lowest health of all tier 9 cruisers. Your concealment is 9.9, like I said, which is pretty nice, and your utility is basically the bare minimum. You have the basic hydro and a plane. So the Ibuki is pretty meh, I would say. Putting it on D tier, it doesn't offer a lot. Your only value is the good concealment, very good concealment to be fair, and to kite, but only being able to kite makes your ship very limited. So that's why I put it on D tier. Next up on the list, it's the Azuma, the super cruiser variant of the Ibuki. When it comes to firepower, again, AG, spamming, kiting ship, doesn't change a whole lot. Very, very similar, just the super cruiser variant. Super cruiser, I can talk, I swear. It has basically the same things. It has a bit more AG pen, a bit more damage, a bit more reload. It's just heavier guns. You lose torpedoes, which is definitely a downside. You don't have torpedoes on the Azuma. When it comes to armor, it has 25mm bow again. Unfortunately, you don't have the 32mm deck that a bit of the Ibuki has, which is bad because 406s will pen you all over the place. And side plate or the torpedo hit is also 27. Again, nothing that can bounce 406s. The Citadel is kind of nice. It has this weird angle everywhere. If I put it down here, like it rotates everywhere, so it's kind of angled when you're kiting away. If you're really good at angling, I think there's some ways to work with this, so the shells always hit like these parts, or mostly, so at least you don't hit citadels. The ends are very protected, so the citadel on the ship is fine. I'll just say that on the broadside it's you're susceptible. Like any cruiser, you can take citadels. When it comes to survivability, you have a lot more health. Surprisingly, 20 more K. And concealment. The Azuma goes to 20 kilometer concealment, if I'm not wrong, which is not bad considering it's a super cruiser. But that's my next point. As a super cruiser, yes, you have more health, but you suffer from super cruiser fires, which are the worst fires in the game. You can cry all you want as a battleship player that your AG spamming is doing a lot of damage. Super cruisers have it worse. We can only take, or we can take all the way up to 4 fires. We can't even have fire prevention anymore, and they last 60-second base. We don't have the option on the Captain 3 as well to reduce it by 15%. But the fire prevention is the worst thing here. You take a lot of damage from fires as a super cruiser. When it comes to utility, same thing as the Ibuki. Dump plane in the air and basic hydro. You don't have a lot to offer. For this reason, I'm basically placing the Azuma on the same tier as the Ibuki. It has some stronger sides, more health, bigger guns. It loses on others, concealment, fires, super cruiser fires, I mean, and no torps. So they're both D tier for me. Next up, the Seattle, starting with the EUS 3. No, the Seattle is an interesting ship. So this is the first one with radar we go through. And don't mind my very nice camouflage. When it comes to firepower, the Seattle, it's okay. It has those long archy shells. You can get it all the way to 18 kilometers. They do 30 millimeters a pen. They can go to 37 if you put IFAG, but it cuts the fire chance, so you can kind of pick what you want there. The guns don't turn that well when it comes to kiting or turning it like back. They don't have the best angles. No torpedoes on this ship. The concealment goes all the way 9.6. I have this one spec, see? I work with some ships. The A is okay. That's kind of a meme, but well, whatever. When it comes to armor, it's same as the Ibuki and the Azuma, 25mm bow. You'll see this is very common with cruisers at this tier. This is very weak, but this is a light cruiser, so we'll kind of let it slide. This one also keeps the 25mm side plating, which sucks. You can't bounce even 3080s here, so very limited. You can only bounce cruiser shots, AP shots. 27 on the deck here, and this one is 51, which is really nice, but it's kind of weird how the back is like this. At least this part is kind of protected. Citadel, it's easy to get Citadel on this ship, as you can see from the side. You should always avoid it. You can get Citadel from the front because you have 25 protecting it, and then 89, which if any battleship with decent caliber shoots you and you go boom, well, it feels cruiser, man. After that, we have utility, which is where this ship kinda saves itself. Because remember, I'm doing this. Oh, I forgot to show you the hit points. It has a bit more hit points than the Ibuki, so that's also a plus for it. This is where the ship kinda shines. It has radar that can go all the way up to, let me see. Oops, wrong page. It can go all the way up to 46 seconds if you spec into it. And that's really nice. because in a competitive environment, even though this is a short radar, 9 kilometers only, uh, radar is very valuable. Basically, the reason people take cruisers into clan battles is because of radar. You want a radar that the MDDs are very strong. People need to kill them. That's basically it. You also have hydro, which is a bonus, and defensive AA, which is nice, but you know, meme. So this ship, with everything I showed you, I think it's a bit better than. Even though I don't like it that much, I think it's weak, but because of the radar, it stands up a bit above the Ibuki and the Azuma. It's not as limited. You can at least provide a lot of utility for your team. 42-second or 43-second radar is a long time. Next one, we'll be going for the heavy version of the Seattle, the Buffalo. And the Buffalo is an heavy cruiser, but it's not an heavy cruiser. They call it an heavy cruiser, but it's just a cruiser. I don't know why they call it an heavy cruiser. I guess the guns are a bit bigger. When it comes to firepower, it's basically the same thing as the Seattle. You have a higher caliber, and your AP is a lot deadlier. Like something to be taken in consideration when giving broadside this ship. The AP hurts. It has no torpedoes, and it has four turrets, 4 in the back, 4 in the front. This ship is a downgrade compared to the Baltimore, in my opinion, because yes, you gain more general DPS, but you lose DPS in the front, bow in, which is basically how this ship wants to be. Because as you can tell, or as you can see, it's 27, nothing to bounce, 406s again. You can bounce it on the Citadel, but we'll get into that in a second. So you don't want to be using all your turrets most of the time unless you're hidden. So the firepower for this ship is, again, okay. We haven't seen any amazing ship when it comes to firepower. As a 5k more, almost 5k more health than the Seattle. Its concealment, I don't have it spec'd, but it can go all the way to, I think it's 10.7 concealment. And your range can go all the way to 18 kilometers. Which is okay, again, nothing amazing. The armor, this ship is a bit more equipped than the Seattle, of course. 27 in the front, you can bounce 380s. But no one is going to be using 380s in a competitive environment. There's the Palmer and there's the John Bart. The John Bart is okay, but if they're going to be bow into you and they're a good player, they're going to be firing AG anyway, most of the time at least. So it's the Palmer is kind of trollish. So for competitive at least, you're not going to be facing anything besides 406s and above, and 406s through your nose are gonna go right, pook pook. Everything is gonna pen you everywhere. From battleships, you can only fight other cruisers. You have this stupid slump here again, which is this is where you eat all the citadels. This is gonna hurt like a oof. I've been bowing towards a Wujing or something like that, one of those Chinese or Asian battleships that are basically a reskin of the Azuma or whatever, and I was like 13 kilometers away. It did more than half my health through the nose, and I was like, okay, feels cruiser again. On the side, you have 152, which is this is the only thing you can basically angle with against battleships, the Citadel, and even so, like if you take a look at this, imagine you're like angling, and you take a shot through here or here, whatever, boom. So this is like the Ibuki again. You can eat a lot of citadels, and that's why this ship is kind of very weak in my opinion. When it comes to utility, this is like the Seattle. This is the whole USN line. It shines. You can get, I don't have a spec, as you can see. I don't have, and this commander is, I don't even know what it is. It's just holding place here, waiting for a new ship, because I don't want to play this ship. Trash in my opinion. And I say this with a grain of salt, of course. The radar can go all the way to, what is it, 46 seconds, but this one is 10 km, which is really nice to have a 10 kilometer for 46 seconds on a cap. Very competitive, or okay competitive, not the best, but does the job. You also have hydro, and that's, again, what saves the ship is the same thing that saves the Seattle. It's the utility it brings. It's radar carrying these ships all the way. Where's the Buffalo? All the way here, above the Ibuki. Once again, C tier. They're below the midline, but still, they're being carried by radar again. Next up, we have one of my favorites, and that's the Alaska. Of course, I know. The Alaska has, I don't want to say amazing guns, but pretty good guns. Very good guns, I would say. AG is very good. And the AP is also very good. The dispersion is super cruiser dispersion, but you can complain when you have good guns, I would say. Most 66% of your firepower is also in the front, which means you can be bow in without losing a lot of firepower. This is something the other ships basically haven't, only the Azuma had. The other ships always had a 50-50, or like the Ibuki, you could only fire, if you were bow in completely, you couldn't even, you can only fire 2 out of the 3 turrets, because one of them is weird, depending on the distance. You have 19 kilometer range, very good AP, like I said, no torps. When it comes to armor and tankiness, this ship, let me just put this on, ships has a lot of health. This is, let me just check my commander. I have survivability expert, so this has a bit more health than it should, but it's around the 60,000. And you can get this ship with 60,000 health, with 27 millimeter bow. Again, this is not amazing, but what's really good is what's after the bow, but I'll come to that in a second. You have 28 millimeter side, which you can't bounce 406s out of this. You need 30 millimeters to bounce 306s. So when it comes to fighting battleships in the Alaska, you have to either angle with your torpedo protection, in your casemate down here, but you're susceptible to eating pens here, or you just completely nose in and take some in the nose and try to be like as slim as you can, basically. But you will get penned a lot. You have 36 in the deck, which is really nice. Let me just take this out. This is what, when it comes to the Alaska being really tanky in the front. So you can see the Citadel is in the water, and it's very well protected. You have 206 millimeters here, which makes it so if you completely bow in, it's really hard for enemies to Citadel, even battleships. Because you can eat a lot of pens, yes, but Citadels are very hard to do on the Alaska. It's possible, but very hard. Let me just strip it out. Citadel is not very well protected on the sides. The Citadel itself, I mean, this is very low armor, but the armor on the sides, it's very good in exchange. So you don't feel like the very weak Citadel. It's really strong when it comes to armor. I wouldn't say perfect, but it's really strong. These 2 places where you can get penned a lot are, even while bow in, are, I definitely count these as a weakness. Concealment, you can go all the way to 12.2, and utility, oh, this is something I forgot to mention on the other ships, which is easy radar, basically. Easy radar means if a ship gets in your concealment range and you press the radar button, you will see the ship. The Alaska doesn't have this, while the Seattle and the Buffalo kind of do. It's very close. Like if you get detected and you wait a few seconds and then you press the radar, you will see the DD or whatever is sneaking up to you. While the Alaska doesn't have this. It's the downside, in my opinion, of course, because being easy to play, it's counts. Basically, it's not a cheat, but it's kind of like an easy way to find an enemy. While in the Alaska, you need to kind of be sure it's there, unless you want to waste the radar, like to try your luck. The radar goes all the way to... I actually don't have the radar mod here, but it should go all the way to 40 seconds, something like that, which is really nice. Yeah, this goes like what, 30 or 32? I have the radar thing on this guy. It goes all 40, 41, something like that. You have the normal hydro, and then the 10-kilometer surveillance radar, which is really nice. Makes the ship amazing, in my opinion. One of the best ships in Tier 9, and I'm kind of glad I got it. Very glad, actually. So this puts the ship in... Where is it? Here it is. A tier. It's not S tier for me because, again, Super Cruiser suffers from super fires, I guess you can call them. 27 millimeter bow and 28 millimeter side plating. That's the two reasons it's not perfect. If it didn't have those three things, it would be an absolute god, and it would definitely be in the S tier. But since it's not, A tier. One of the most competitive cruisers out there in Tier 9. Alright, and next up we'll be going for the Russian tree. We can start with a light version as well, the Donskoi. And this is a very controversial ship. And you'll see why in a second. So the Donskoi has really amazing guns. 30mm pen, good damage, base damage, and good fire chance. Really good AP as well. Torpedoes, 8-kilometer torpedoes, which are not the weakest, not the strongest. They're mid-tier, I would say. They're really nice for brawling. It's really good to have torpedoes on the ship. So when you come in close with a battleship or something like that, you can always have like one up your sleeve. I guess they'll always fear you. They won't always come towards you if they know you have torpedoes. It's something they need to watch out for. Besides that, there's the concealment. It goes all the way to what is it? Let me check. You can get 12.6 concealment on the ship for your Donskoi, and the armor. Now, this is why I kind of don't like this line. Yes, this is the light cruiser line, and yes, light cruisers are supposed to be lightly armored. 25 bow, again, I'm used to this. 25 on plating. This is like the Seattle, which is, I get it. 27 up top as well. Doesn't have the Seattle weird plating, but 27. You can bounce. You get penned everywhere from 406s basically. Your Citadel is okay. You have plating to bounce everything, so if you're good, you can bounce with the Citadel. Basically, you ignore your outside armor and you know how your Citadel works, and you try to bounce with it. Like if you have this weird cube here, you just try to like put it in an angle where it bounces here and here. It's kind of hard versus some ships because they have improved angles and all that, but still. The problem with the Donskoi for me is it's anti-synergetic. And what do I mean by that? I mean, its guns, unlike the Seattle, have very high shell velocity, 920. And with those guns, you can't sit behind rocks and farm safely, or farm or help or whatever you want to call it. It has to be... you can stay near rocks, but you can't face tank as well, because 25mm, 27, blah blah, all that stuff I just showed you. So you have to kind of be in open ocean and kiting. This is kind of a kiting cruiser, but your armor doesn't let you kite. And if you're gonna give me the just dodge argument, I'm gonna be like, okay, you obviously haven't played this game for a long time. If you say that. You have this 35mm plating, yes, here, but you're gonna be eating a lot of pens. You will, even if you dodge a lot of the shells, you will still be eating pens. Because battleships, when they fire you, the guns go, one goes that way and the other one goes that, woo! So you can't escape the harsh truth that is you'll be getting penned everywhere, and you don't need to get citadel by a cruiser or by a battleship to get destroyed. You can just take pens over and over and you'll die surprisingly quickly. This is why I don't like the ship. It's anti-synergetic. Your guns don't match your gameplay with the armor. Like, they don't let you, your armor and your guns don't let you work perfectly in harmony, basically. When it comes to utility, you have the normal hydro, and you have one of the best radars in the game from the Russians. It goes all the way up to 33 seconds, 12 kilometers. You have a 500 kilometer or 500 meter difference from 600 meter difference from your spotting to your radar. So all you need to do is wait 5-6 seconds after you've been spotted. You click the button, and there's a high chance you'll find the ship. It's not easy radar, but it's close to easy radar. Very close. And for all those reasons, again, I think radar carries this ship all the way here. I think this ship, it's better than the Buffalo and the Seattle. But radar is obviously just better, so it carries it out more, but it's not enough to go to the tier above. So if I had like a middle tier here, the Donskoi would be in the middle, but there's not, so he stays there. Like a good little anti-synergetic boy. Up next, we have the Riga. Another one of my favorite ships. And you're going to start to see a pattern here. Oh, he just loves to stay on the island. He doesn't like kiting. No. I like kiting as well. But these ships are just simply better than the kitings that Tier 9 offers. Most of them, at least. Guns. When it comes to AG damage, this is pretty piss poor, to be honest. Not a lot of AG damage comes out of this thing. It's pretty pathetic. AP damage is pretty good. This is one of the best APs you get. Tier 9 for cruisers. You have no torpedoes like the Donskoi, for example, but your guns are really good when you get angled ships. Or not angled ship, but less angled ships, because you have the pens, the Russian pens. When it comes to tankiness, again, I think I have, let me just check, 54,000 health. Yeah, I have the survivability expert. I always put that on my cruisers, it's just a preference thing. Armor layout, this is very nice. 25mm bow, you know, whatever. You can eat citadels through this, but I'll show you that in a second. 40mm icebreaker, and it's pretty thick. I like it. It's not one of those pathetic icebreakers that all it does is like cover the waterline and it's useless. It's pretty good. On the back as well, a little bit here, blah blah blah. Deck 35mm, 35 side deck. You can bounce 406s, you can bounce 457s, you can bounce Yamato shells off this thing. Musashi, you're not gonna be fighting Yamatos in clay battles. But side 140, this is just case armor, this is not even the Citadel. If you strip it all the way to the Citadel, stick the guns out. Here 90mm, here 55. This is one of the weak points. I mean, but you should never risk firing at this place here versus Riga. You should always like fire in between. It's like the Petra. You should always fire at. You see the damn chimneys. You just fire here and boom. That's the weakest spot he has. This one is has Citadel to bounce everything. You don't need it, but up in the front you have this little angled Citadel a little bit. You see, so if you're straight up, or if you're pointing straight at target, you have your Citadel angled a bit, and it helps. It helps a lot. But you can still, like, if you angle this way, if the enemy is pointing this way towards you, you're actually giving him a sort of cheek a little bit. It's like more flat. Not as much as if you were pointing, not as angled. If you open the game and check it out yourself, you'll be able to see what I'm saying. But you can still eat citadels through your nose. So if I show, like right here, you see how like it's covering it, but if the shell comes and it's very close, I've eaten citadels, even close range. I've eaten citadels like 5-6 kilometers from Missouris and Ios or whatever it's called. one of those ships. I don't even remember which one it was. It just hit me it hit me at like straight up the tip, and it hit on me for some reason. I was like, okay, it's World of Warships and feels cruiser again. Concealment, amazing concealment for. I mean, this is the best you can ask for. You have 12 km radar as well, so you can't ask for better. This is easy radar, very, very, very easy radar. 100 meters. You get spotted. You wait a second. You press it. Boom. Enjoy DD hunting. And you have the acoustics out of the AA. But if you pick this, you can report it unless there's a guaranteed CV in your match. And that's the Riga for you. This is the best Tech 3 ship at Tier 9, in my opinion. Cruiser Tech 3 ship. I'm putting it all the way up here with the Alaska. I think it competes with them. You don't suffer from the problems the Alaska does. I mean, you suffer from the bow. The bow. You have the 25 millimeter where he has 27, but 27 doesn't give you a lot of advantages, to be honest. And you have a safe side plate to bounce off, while the Alaska doesn't. He always risks eating pens. So this is why it's A tier for me. That and radar, of course. If you're starting to notice, all ships up here have radar. It's a coincidence, I swear. So something I forgot to mention about the Riga is that it doesn't suffer from the super fires. It doesn't suffer from those 60-second fires that the super cruisers do, which is really nice to tank. Next up, it's Kronshtadt. So this is one of the few ships I actually don't have. It's premium, and it wasn't in the game when I started playing. At least not available anyway. I'll be talking or reviewing it through experiences I had versus it in clan battles, and through seeing some people playing on YouTube, Twitch, that sort of thing, and through its stats, of course. Its AG seems okay, but it's the AP that seems to shine on this ship. 9,000 maximum AP shell damage, and you have 900 meter velocity, which you probably have very good pen as well. If you get some broadsides or some angled superstructures, you can pack quite the punch with these guns. When it comes to tankiness, you have one of the highest health pools of any cruiser in the game, even counting tier 10s. But when it comes to armor, you have 25mm bow, which sucks for the bow in ship. You can see that at the end as well. 27mm deck and side plating. This also sucks. You can't bounce 406s, or you'll eat a lot of 406s pens on your deck, side, and bow. But if you remove these, you can see the armor beneath that is very, very thick. Your Citadel is very well armed, 330, probably the toughest Citadel straight up from the nose. If you strip it down just to the core Citadel, you can see it's still fine. 30mm here, even if something were to go past this huge 90mm deck. 90 here, very thick. 230. This is the weak spots. This and back here are the weak spots, but for something to go through it, it has to go through 330, 230, 90. It's very hard to Citadel this ship. But the weaknesses on this, on the armor side, is that 25, 27, 27, you'll eat a lot of pens from 406s and above, but at least you have the huge health pool to make up for that. Concealment, you get all the way to, I think it's 12.7 kilometers, which means you have 700 meters between your concealment, being spotted, and your radar. It's not easy radar, but it's kind of like, I won't say the Alaska because it's easier. It's only 700 meters. It's okay. It's like mid tier when it comes to how easy it is to use radar on this ship. If we go to, what else is there to say about the ship? Oh, it's a super cruiser. I forgot. It takes super fires. So taking into account all that, I would place the Kronshtadt all the way up into up tier. And I'm putting this all the way into up tier because it's very tanky, even though it eats a lot of pens. Its health pool makes up for a lot of the pens you'll be eating. And one of the things you want on a radar cruiser is to be very, very tanky, because people want to kill you. You'll be focused a lot on radar cruisers in clan battles. And if you're tankier, it's a plus, because as the longer you withstand, the more radars you'll give to your team. And it's like you give a zone with your radar that the enemies on DDs need to be careful. So this is a very good thing for cruisers to have, tankiness. On the downside, oh no, not the downside. And the other thing that pulls the ship up, I mean, it's the 12 km radar. Best radar in the game with 33 seconds. Yeah, 33 seconds duration. Same as the Donskoi. This is very strong ship. One of the best tier 9 as well. And next we're going toward the Germans. Ooh. So we'll start with the the Roon, because it's tech 3. The Roon is, we're back to the Ibuki kind of thing. It's AG spamming kiting cruiser, and the first thing you'll see is its turrets when you buy it. It doesn't have turrets on the front, it has one. 66% of its firepower is in the back. This makes the cruiser very good at kiting, very good when you have to push in. If the enemy doesn't kite or push you or do whatever, you need to basically either back into them or push very weakly, knowing you only have 33% of your firepower available to you. I know, I'll just, as soon as you see them, I'll just start kiting. Well, if they're good and they're ambushing you, when they see you, it's your game. There you go. 203 is the basic. You have the 51mm pen that the Germans have, the better pen, AG pen they have, which is really nice. This counters the Riga and the Alaska, and I would say Kronshtadt, but everyone counters the Kronshtadt, I guess. Really good fire chance. Oh, whoops, what did I just click? You have torpedoes. You have 6 cam torpedoes. You have 2 sets, if I'm not wrong, or one's here, and they have good angles. They're not like oh, you have one on each side. It's the next one that has more. There's 6 kilometers, and you have good angles on them. If you're going bow in into a battleship and you're going for the trade, these torpedoes will be amazing for that. You don't need to ram yourself into them, although you kind of should, because it's manly as fuck. When it comes to armor, this has 10,000 more health than the Ibuki already, right off the bat. You lose in concealment compared to the Ibuki. I'm going to be comparing to the Ibuki because from the other, you have Donskoi and Ibuki, like other kiting cruisers. This is not a super cruiser, so I'll be comparing them to them the most. You have 11.3 kilometers of concealment, which isn't bad, to be honest. But when then you put your armor, you have 27 bow. You have a little bit of an icebreaker here, which you can use to angle. If you're a good player, you can kind of use this to angle. 27 here, 27 here. You know, you're back to the whole 27 everywhere. Just give me the 27s, I guess. I love being overmatched. This side is very weak, but you have torpedo protection, casemate here, so it's not as weak as it looks. You have the little turtle back plus waterline citadel. This is really nice to angle. 40mm, you can bounce any shell off this basically. 40, 50 as well. It's a hidden citadel. It's really nice. It's more protected in the back. Is the front? No, it's not. It's thicker in the back though. It's nice. It's not the worst. Like, it's pretty okay. The Roon overall is pretty okay. The main thing I would say against it, it's the fact that it's the 2 guns in the back. You're very limited. You're even more limited than the Ibuki was in terms of what can you do well. You can kite well, but if it ever comes a situation to push, and you can push all the way into your torps, for example, you will be put in a difficult position where you either angle and only have 30% of your firepower to shoot, or you give them broadside and hope to RNGs that you don't get smashed, which if you're versus good players, you're gonna get smashed. So yeah, you also have the 6 km hydro, the improved hydro that the Germans have, which is a bit better than the regular hydros. That's basically what he offers, and he has the amazing plane on the air to use. For this reason, I'm gonna say the Roon suffers from the same thing as all these ships do back down here. Like, is it better than Ibuki? In some ways. Is it worse than Ibuki? In others. The Ibuki, is it overall weaker than Ibuki? I think so. The fact that it has 10,000 more health than Ibuki matters a lot. But I don't think he's up here because his bad boys have radar. And the Roon doesn't. And that matters a lot. They're also not as limited as the Roon. So I'm putting it down here. And after the Roon, we have a really fun one that I like. The Agir. So the Agir has, it's very close to the Alaska, basically. Very similar. It's a super cruiser, 305s. You get the pen, the AG pen that the Germans have. So you have 76 millimeters. Jesus, it's hard to read, I swear. Of pen. Good fires, good AG damage, good AP damage as well. You can see it's really high. I have heavy AP on the commander though. Yeah, I do. You have torpedoes as well. You have the wrong thing. You have the torpedoes, 6-kilometer torpedoes that the Roon has. Same spot. Basically everything is the same, or everything is the same. 2 guns in the front, 1 in the back, like the Alaska. Super cruiser, super fires. This is your concealment, 12 kilometers basically, which is fine. 66,000 health. Don't forget, it's with the survivability expert, which gives you 4,000 more health. So it's like 62,000 health and something. Really good health pool basically. If you check the armor, 27 millimeter bow. Again, the back they're basically all the same. The Roon had like a little bit more on the back, but some platings they have for kiting and all that. 30 millimeter, which you can bounce 406s, but not 457s. Not perfect, but I'd say good enough for now. Like compared to other cruisers that have 27s, Jesus Christ. Really good on these cruisers. This is something I really love. 90 millimeter on the side. You can shatter AG on the side a lot. You can bounce AP on the side a lot. Everything here is also kind of thick. Strip this down. Take the armor. Citadel is also well protected. The lowest you have, it's a bit above water, but it's fine, I would say, because you have this sort of like turtleback thingy, or whatever people call these things. It's protected basically. You have a less protected Citadel. Oops, if you put it here, 27, 100. You have a less protected Citadel than the Alaska compared to him. But this is also kind of hard to hit, to be fair. But you can get Citadel from the bow, from 406s and above. And when it comes to utilities, this has the basic, the basic German hydro, I guess, which is nice. This is a very brawly cruiser. You kind of want to use your power of being able to tank a lot and push a lot to and torpedoes. You want to scare someone off your flank kind of with these things. But it's still hard if you get focused down, because super fires are annoying. 27 millimeter bows are annoying. You get smashed sometimes, even with a lot of health you have. It's hard to do what I feel like these cruisers are supposed to do, to be amazing. That's why I don't think these cruisers are amazing. They're good, but I wouldn't call these things amazing. I put these one down from the Alaska. No radar means a lot, as you can tell. It's happening here. It's separating these ships from C from to D. It's separating these ships on A from the ones on B as well. But that's the Agir for you. And I'm gonna do the Siegfried as well, which is basically, it's exactly the same as an Agir. Everything, armor, blah blah blah. It's everything besides the guns. You have 380s, which means you can overmatch 25mm bows, and that's about it. They're really accurate, to be fair, for 380s. These are really accurate. I don't have the Siegfried myself. I've seen a friend play it, and they are really, really accurate. I kind of think I would prefer the 3.5 version from the Agir, but for those that like a bit more, I don't know, battleship kind of gun, this is I think a good ship for that. I'm gonna put on the same tier as the Agir because of that. B tier. Next up on the list, we'll be moving to one that I don't have. There's a few I don't have. So far 3. And I think that's where it stays. It's the Neptune. This is the only Tech 3 tier that I haven't done on cruisers. Reason being, these play quite differently, and I don't have a lot of... I don't fancy them too much because of that different playstyle. You only have access to AP. This is better. This is enhanced AP, better angles, all that stuff. But you have okay damage. Like if someone angles towards you, your air damage is gonna plummet. It's gonna be really low. But if you get some broadsides, a bit of angle chips, your enhanced angle should be enough so you can emit the superstructure and get some value damage out of it. You have torpedoes. These are English torpedoes, which means you can single launch them. That's really, really strong, especially in competitive environments, because you can, these are 10km torpedo range. I don't know if it goes, does it get increased? No. 10km, and you can single launch 8 of them. Yeah, 8 on each side, right? 4, yeah. You can single launch them into places where you know enemies will be holding. Like radar cruisers like to hide or hug rocks, islands a lot to protect their citadel, so they can pull back when they're getting a lot under fire and they want to switch the aggro, or they want to just replenish some health, something like that. This is a very valuable mechanic to have. This is strong. The single launch torps, just those torps in general are strong. 15,000 damage as well. This is very strong. Or strong, not very strong. But when it comes to armor, health, this is basic, a little bit more health than the Ibuki. I know, sad, but this is light cruiser. And you have DD armor. But you have a citadel. So welcome to Phil's Cruiser, man, land. This is where it feels the most cruiser. I'm not stripping everything off yet, wait. You can get overmatched by... What is it? 60mm gets overmatched by... Let me open the calculator. 16 times 14.3. So you get overmatched by anything that's above 230, basically. There's a few cruisers. There's the Johan de Witt, or whatever, the Dutch guy now, that's above that, I think. And then you have the heavy super cruisers with the 3.5s that overmatch you everywhere. So this is pathetic armor. You can bounce light cruisers and some other cruisers. AP, same deck. Only thing you have to actually bounce stuff is Citadel. But you have these stupid things here. And you can get Citadel from the front by a lot. It's 100mm in the front. These stupid things, so you can eat a lot of Citadels. Again, stupid thing in the back. Stupid bumps. I don't know. Maybe it's a speed bump or something. I don't know. Maybe no idea. Citadel is really exposed here, especially in the middle. As you can tell, this is the water line here. This is exposed, and this is really exposed. So these ships blow up a damn lot. On the other side, you can get this ship to a concealment of, what is it, 10.3. you can have radar on it, which is really strong radar. 10 kilometer gives you the 300-meter thing for the easy radar. 46 seconds if you fully spec into it, which is really long. But normally you take smoke on these guys because you're so damn squishy and you don't want to be forced to be behind a rock to survive, so these normally take smoke, which is this is a very squishy ship for competitive gameplay in my opinion. It's really not one you want to be like worried about, because competitive gameplay has a lot of cross map shots and all that, and this ship gets smashed. You have the super heal, basic hydro, and it helps, but you get blapped on these ships that are very what's the word I'm looking for? It's not vulnerable, they're very gimmicky, I guess, and it's a liability kind of to play them. That's what I'm looking for. That's why I'm putting this ship on, I want to put it on F tier, but you can get radar on it, and that carries it up a tier, so hey, it's D tier. Competing with these other people that I don't think it can compete with, but you know, radar, so carried 1 tier. Even if you're standing behind a damn rock, just doing nothing, you have radar. Just to screw the other DDs, it carries up to the tier, in my opinion. And after the Neptune, we have the big boy version of it, the Drake. This is one of the ships that actually surprised me. This line surprised me a lot, and I'm glad it did. I'm tired of playing shitty cruisers on this tier. So the Drake, you have 2 34s. You can overmatch the Neptune actually with these. Oh, interesting. You are a AG spamming kiting cruiser, sort of, but yeah, mostly kiting. Really good. This is kind of like a mini Conqueror or whatever comes, the Monarch or the Lion. This is kind of a mini that with shitty armor, basically, because it's a cruiser, so you get shitty armor. That's the bonus. Yay. It's not a super cruiser, at least no super fires. 59mm pen. Let's say we're talking competitive, but even if you were playing random battles or whatever, ranked battles, and you had 2 tiers, if you're playing versus a Petro or Stalingrad, the 59mm of pen gives you value, so you can pen those with AG. That's really valuable. And for clan battles, it's just good at smashing, doing a lot of AG damage, AG spamming, making fires. Again, you have torpedoes, single launch. You don't have as many as the Neptune. You only have 1 set on this one. I don't even know. Where is it? Oh, it's down here. You only have 1 set, 10 kilometers. A little bit more damage, actually, than the Neptune, if I'm not wrong. When it comes to armor, hey, guess what? 25mm bow. Woo! Amazing. You have a 30mm deck, which is nice. You know, this is a rarity nowadays for a tier 9. 27mm side plating. You can't angle versus 406s with these things. Makes you very limited again to how you bounce, because you can bounce with the bow or the side plating. So you're like, oop, I hope I don't get smashed whenever they come at you. Take these off. You can see the Citadel. It's fairly decently armored in the front, so at least you don't need a lot of Citadels in the front. You can, and you might, a good amount, not a lot, but a good amount. 37, 64, you can bounce everything with the Citadel, basically. Just check the back, it's the same amount. A good amount of HP, not amazing, not bad. The Roon has more for a cruiser. But you have super heals on this guy. Super heals. And super heals are super nice. Because... Oh, you also have... Let me see, what's the concealment on this thing? Whoops, wrong page. Okay. You have 10.3 concealment. This is really good on a cruiser that has a super heal as well. This means you can pick a lot of your fights. With other cruisers especially, you can pick a lot of your fights in this thing. This is like a mini Goliath for those that have tier 10s. And with the ability to super heal, when you're fighting another cruiser individually, let's say you pick the fight 1v1 on a flank with a cruiser, no one's there to help besides you two, you'll be fighting mostly AG, unless one of you is an ape and decides to show broadside and gets blapped. But if you do that, you're an ape. What are you gonna do? You're gonna be mostly fighting AG, and this ship has amazing things, in my opinion, when it comes to dueling. First of all, your AG is amazing. Amazing fire, amazing damage, amazing pen. You don't even need to aim at the superstructure with this thing. 59mm, you can pen any decks in mostly all side armors the cruisers have. And you have the super heal. Super heal heals most of... only thing that super heal doesn't heal well is citadels and AP damage. It heals amazingly well when it comes to AG damage and fire damage. So this will always give you an advantage when fighting. There's none, if any, ships that can fight you 1v1, cruiser on cruiser. If there's a few, I might be forgetting right now, but you will almost always guaranteed win a 1v1. And if you actually find the enemy to be up close to you, let's say they have torpedoes, they're a Roon or something, you also have torpedoes, so you're not in a disadvantage. You're actually in an advantage because you can single launch, and depending on how they come to you, you can hit them all. While if you, like, I don't know, go in on them, bow in, you lead like 1, 2, 3, depending on the distance, 1 maybe, and you can force them to eat all 4 torpedoes, and 16,000 damage from torpedoes. Even if you cut, I don't know, a third off, 10,000 damage in 4 torpedoes is 40,000 damage. That's 40,000 damage off a cruiser health. That's an Ibuki gone. That's a Roon left with 10,000 HP. You can finish him off. And this is me being nice because it does 16,000 and 10,000. This is why I think the Drake is so good. If played correctly, especially. That's why I'm putting it. So I would put the Drake up here if the side plating was better, if the bow armor was better. You get what I'm saying? The armor scheme weighs him down. These also no radar, which is, again, I'm gonna keep saying this, radar is radar. Super good. It stays with the Agir and these things up here on B tier. And with our French friend here, St. Louis, see what we have. This is a line I actually did very recently, like a few weeks ago. I played the 5, Emile, whatever. I skipped 6, I skipped 7, and I was going to play 8, and then my friend said, I want to go play Grand Battles, skip that as well, and I was like, okay, screw it. And I free XP'd it all the way from 5 to 9. And I was also check the stats, and this is, the 9 is basically a tier 8 with heal, the exact same ship. But this ship, I had mixed feelings about this, because AG, it's a AG kiting cruiser, again, like the others, with decent torps. You only have 3 on these ones, but they're 9 kilometers. Decent damage. This ship has really weird damage. So the damage always felt weak to me. I put fires, yeah, it was okay. I did some AG damage, but it felt, every time I did a salvo on someone, it felt really, really weak compared to the other kiting cruisers I'm used to playing. I don't know, it just felt weak when it came to alpha damage, really weak. The AP is fine, it's okay, nothing to brag about. Armor, it has almost the same health as like 1,000 more health than Neptune or whatever. Almost the same health as the Ibuki, really weak. It's 25mm bow, so you know that's amazing always. 27, okay. It's good for random battles, not good for competitive in my opinion. You're gonna get smashed by 406s. Let me just see. Yeah, this one doesn't have any protection in the bow. I've been missing on a few of them, but it's nothing that's game changing in my opinion. Weird citadel. It gets protected by the torpedo protection here, but so you can eat. You'll eat citadels from the front quite often, actually. Really exposed above the water, 25 millimeters. You'll eat a bunch of citadels from the front. The top part of the citadel is really protected. The side is really protected. You have the torpedo protection here. If a shell somehow hits these parts, oh well, unlucky. Get destroyed, I guess. Armor is nothing to write home about, basically. Health is nothing to write home about. What this ship has, actually, let me check its concealment. What this ship has that's really nice, the concealment is 11.7. Okay, it's okay. There's better. What it has, it was fun for me, at least. It was different. It's engine boost. You can get like 40 knots or something, and you can throttle juke a lot. Throttle juke a lot, throttle juke a lot, and you have the regular hydro as well, and you have this reload booster. So this is really fun to play with, because when you're setting fires up, and the most annoying thing is, hey, I just set 2 fires in a row, and the guy's like, R button, or like, damn it, there goes all my damage. But with this, you can actually just, when he does that, you can hold a few seconds. If you actually know more or less the timer of their repair party, how long it stays on, you wait that long, and then you hit this, and you just shoot the shit out of him with AG, and you'll get all your fires back, and maybe more. Then the guy's like doomed. It's like, oh shit, I just repaired, and you get like 2-3 fires. Maybe I'm being nice. Maybe if the ape is on a battleship and he doesn't have fire prevention, you'll get 3 fires, but 2 fires normally. It is really nice. Also really good when you see it DD. When you find a DD, this is also really, really good. You can do a lot of damage to DDs. Even though your alpha is low, or at least it feels low, you can demolish a DD with this thing if used correctly. This is a mechanic I liked. I liked it. But the ship itself suffers from the same things. All these down here do. No armor, no health, very limited. You can kite, and not even amazingly, to be honest, on this one. You'll eat citadels from the ass, from the bow. It's just, You can throttle juke, but, oh my god, I said it again, throttle juke. But you can only do that so much against good players. So that's why it sits all the way at D tier. Alrighty, and we're getting to the end of the list. The last Tech 3 line that remains, it's the Brindisi line, the Italians. And I gotta say, I kinda loved doing this line. It was really, really good, in my opinion. This is the best kiting line, in my opinion. Or, I mean, I would say the Drake, when it comes to comparing to the Brindisi, it's also on par basically. But the line itself, I would say the Italian line is more fun to play and stronger. But the Brindisi, it has sap, which are really strong, really high velocity, really strong, a lot of damage. You can do like 10k salvos with these things easily when firing at superstructures and stuff like that. You have these very slow torpedoes. It doesn't show the speed here, but they're very slow. But they aim 95 seconds, so I normally just spam them from far away. They have 13 kilometer 0.5 range, so it's really nice to I just put them in the ocean sometimes. And sometimes I hit something and I'm like, okay, nice. It doesn't do a lot of that. It's like one of the worst damaging torpedoes in the game for tier 9, I think, but it's some damage. So 4 in the front, 4 in the back, or 2 in the front, 2 in the back, I mean, total of 4. Armor and survivability. 44,000 armor or health, it's not bad, I would say. It's like medium, the middle of the pack. You have 25 millimeter bow. You have this little stripe here, the icebreaker, but the only thing this is gonna protect you from is submarines that are shooting Yamato guns at you or something. I don't know what it's there for, honestly. It's just a meme, I think. You have 25mm up here, or 27mm up here, sorry. This is like an upper deck, I guess. Auxiliary room. This is like a small above deck thing. You can eat pens here, which sucks. If it didn't have this thing, it would be better, simply, in my opinion. Just take this off. You have 30mm here, so you can bounce 406s. 30mm here, you can bounce 406s again. You have straight up to the Citadel, 150, you can bounce them. Your front is a bit angled, if you notice. Like, you have these little corners here to bounce a bit. Sometimes they help less, but again, same thing in the back. You have these little corners. If I strip this down all the way to Citadel, 75, 60, 65, it's nothing to get worried about. It's nice. I've eaten some really weird pens. I don't know if it's because, so the Venezia has like a torpedo protection that these ships don't have. And if you look here, like, you see how this line is a bit more. I don't know if it's this, but I ate 2 stupid Citadels from a ship fairly recently in Grand Battle from a Satsuma. It hit here, and then it did 2 Citadels while I was angled towards him, like almost bow in. I don't know how. It felt cruiser as fuck, not gonna lie. You can get a concealment of, I think it's 12 something, 12.2 kilometers, which is, it's okay. This is just a cruiser. It's not a super cruiser. And then you have the equipment with the exhaust smoke screen, or exhaust smoke generator. Yeah, I don't even have. I played this thing with 15 kilometers range. Yeah, manly as fuck, I know. This thing is really nice to get you out of tough situations, and to also make you play. You can play very aggressive with this thing. So the way this works, I'm assuming you all know. I'm just gonna do a quick thing. Is you activate it, you don't shoot, you can go full speed, and you'll be undetected for 40 seconds, unless you get close enough or they have hide or radar, blah blah. This is really nice. In the beginning of the game, for example, you can follow your DD to a cap, and you can stay a bit behind them, and as soon as you spot the other enemy or you get spotted, you smoke screen, you start moving out. Your DD keeps going, he finds the other DD, and you basically are already angled or starting to angle away, where you can get a shot, a salvo on the other DD, and even if you get detected, the salvo should be worth, because it's sap. It will do a shit ton of damage to the destroyer. It's a very aggressive play, but it can be very high. It's a high risk, high reward kind of situation, I would say, because you can win the game or lose the game kind of there, because you might not get out of there alive, but you can also get their DD and get out of there alive. So other situation where you can use this is to, if a battleship is coming towards you, you just smoke screen up and you either move away, try to start cutting away, or you smoke screen in like a man and you torpedo the shit out of that motherfucker and you ram him like a man. That's another use of it. You can just use it to turn out as well. A lot of people just use it when they want to give broadside and turn out or turn in, and they don't want to show the broadside, they just smoke. It's really nice. This is one of the best cutting ships at tier 9 in my opinion. It's the one. I know the list looks like I hate cutting ships because they're all down here, but this one goes up here with a Drake. These 2 ships, for cruisers, I would say they're good for kiting, and they can also be played aggressively. They're not as limited as these guys down here. That's what I like about them. Not limited. Alright, and for last, I saved Johan de Witt, or however you spell this man's name. So this is the new Dutch line. It just came out. Actually came out this week. So I don't have it, of course. And I'm not paying for it. No doubloons. No putting doubloons into this thing. It has 240s. Guns. I've been seeing some gameplay of it. I've been really hyped for this line. I'm a cruiser main, so and I love super cruisers. That's the. Can I just okay? I really love super cruisers and cruisers that can push in and do things. They can be aggressive. I love that playstyle. So I was really hyped for this line, and not even because of the stupid planes. I was hyped because look at this thing. That is some thick icebreaker, boy. That's. You see this? This is heresy right here. This is good. All good chunky armor. That's why I was really hyped for this line. Also, it is supposed to have good AA. I've seen a little bit of it. Seemed okay. And it has really good concealment. You can get a concealment of 10 kilometers on this thing. On a super cruiser, you can get a concealment of 10 kilometers. But anyway, back to the guns. From what I've seen, they seem kind of shit. And I don't mean shit like meh damage. I mean shit like shit damage. They seem weak. Long reload, 16 reload time. The salvos that I've seen with this ship remind me of the St. Louis, where I was like, did I forget the rest of the damage home? Hello? Like you hit a bunch of shells. You hit like 6 shells and you do, I don't know. I forgot the example I saw on one of the streams recently. It was really pathetically low. Like you were doing it like 1,000 per shell, like with AP. You hit like 6 shells. It was like 5 pens and 1 overpen, and the guy did 6,000 damage with AP. And I was like, okay, weak, but okay. AG weak and AP both seemed weak, but we'll see. I don't have a chance to play with these things yet. I'm kind of waiting. Health is a bit okay, kind of lower side, but okay. Not gonna complain because you have the armor on the counterpart. 25mm again, a stupid thing, but you have this really thick plate here, which I love. Really thick. This is not a tiny icebreaker that I'm like the Brindisi, like that little sample of a thing. This is a big boy fucking icebreaker right here. 200mm here. This is kind of almost waterline, I think. At least it looks like it. You can get Citadel, but you see how thick this is? This is gonna make it hard so they can Citadel you from the front. I'm assuming you can still manage somehow. Stupid battleships always manage to do so, but 30mm deck. You can bounce 406s on your deck. Yeah, it's not perfect, but pretty good, I'd say. I can't complain compared to the 25mm bows, I guess. Side, you have a lot of armor on the side, 200 and something armor. So what I'm guessing this is going to be really good at is shattering AG and preventing light cruisers and some other even medium cruisers, like I don't know, like stuff like the Buffalo at certain distances, from citadeling you, basically. This is really good. You cannot show broadside to battleships still. No bueno. You're gonna die. Do not do it just because you see a big chunk here. You're not a battleship. You're a cruiser. Okay? You're the weakest class in the game. Just no. Bow in. You need to play smart. We don't get to be a broadside all the time like the battleships or like DDs that have no citadels. We need to stay angled and not get destroyed, hopefully. 40mm here, nice. 30 here again. So even if you get overmatched here by 457s, by the time they reach here, they'll be they shouldn't be as strong, and you might be able to bounce them off your citadel. The weakness of the ship is, of course, the ass. I've seen a lot of people play the ship kiting and angling away, like showing your ass towards the enemy. I don't know why. You have 40mm here compared to 200. If you do the math, I'm sure you can tell it's a significant difference. And you don't have an icebreaker on your ass. So the weakness of the ship is definitely the ass. So I don't know why these people keep playing them with the ass against the enemy. Beats me, I don't know. What else? You have the AA, no, I already talked, the AA strike. You have 2 of them, they can do good chunks. I've been seeing how people use it, and basically the way it shows like a square, but the actual strike is more like a vertical, like the ship is right now. It's a vertical it's not a square, it's a rectangle, vertical rectangle like this, and that's where the strike lands. Even though the square box is like much wider, and I always goes like the way you're pointing, so it's kind of like a carpet bomb from the UK CVs. The way you're pointing is the way it's gonna drop, so you want to kind of try and aim it that way. From what I've been seeing, again, I don't play this ship, I don't have the tier 6, so I can drop some bombs on people. I don't know. This is from the info I got. I'm trying to do a educated guess on where this ship will end on tier list, even though I think it's gonna get slightly buffed before I don't know, maybe next patch, hopefully. 5 kilometers basic hydro. Your close quarter ship, you have low range, as you can see here. It goes like to 16 or something, 16 kilometers, something like that. It goes to 18.5 with fully range, but your dispersion is kind of bad. It's kind of like super cruiser. Oh, this is a super cruiser, I forgot. So, you know, super fires. It's gonna be amazing. Thank you, game. Ooh, and you have the reload, which is the fast repair party, which is cool. I think it's a really synergetic thing to add to a ship that's aggressive. Fast repair party. It's kind of like the Massachusetts or whatever it's called, the Massachusetts, and you just repair a lot faster. And for someone that's gonna be in the front line doing aggressive plays, which is I think what this ship will be doing, it's really nice. Also, these airstrikes could be very useful in competitive gameplay, I think, because radar cruisers are behind islands, and radar cruisers can get smashed by this if you're with your good concealment at an angle where you can aim at them correctly. Like I said, you have to have the rectangle, not the square, and do the whole thing. You have to get used to it first. You can smash people behind islands. You can smash battleships that stop in the more stopped environment, which is the clan battles and stuff like that. I think this gains value over in random battles. Another thing this gains, I think this is going to be valuable. I haven't tested it yet. I want to test it as soon as I get the ship. I already talked to the CV player in my clan. Is giving value to your CV. So if you were to strike, let's say if you were to strike, you were both striking the same ship, you were both striking Alaska behind a damn mountain or something, hiding in an island, you could send in this, and yeah, tell your CV, hey, I'm gonna strike this guy, get ready. He gets close to him, you send your strike in absorbs the AA from the Alaska, for example, and he gets you get your strike in damaged, of course, but he gets his strike in mostly freely because your planes will be tanking the AA for him. This is something I thought about. I don't know if it's gonna work. I'm yet to test it again, but this is some value it could have. I'm hoping for, because so far the class seems okay, not amazing, not completely trash, but. So where am I gonna put this? That is the question. From what I've seen, it's gonna be somewhere here. I'm gonna risk it. I'm gonna put it up here. So this is my tier lists. As you can tell, Alaska, Riga, Kronshtadt. All good ships, not perfect. I didn't put any on S tier, as you can tell. I didn't put any on F tier either. I don't think neither of them are unplayable. This one came close, the Neptune, but radar saved them. The ability to have a good radar. These ships on B are basically also very good choices. If you already have radars, they can fulfill other roles. But the radar puts these ships in a point where they're it's crucial, basically. These ships are more crucial than these ships, because DDs are very strong, very, very strong. The Seattle, the Buffalo, and the Donskoi are basically on the same level as the Ibuki, Azuma, Roon, and these kind of ships, but they have radar, so they get one-upped. Same way the guys on A get one-upped from the guys on B because of the radar. And the Roon is here. I feel bad putting the Roon here. St. Louis is kind of garbage compared to Drake and Brindisi, in my opinion, and the Ibuki same. Same with the Azuma. But the Roon problem is, in my opinion, it's the 2 turrets in the back. It's very limited. I think it limits him a lot in a game, in a competitive game where you'll sometimes need to take action yourself. You'll need to be the one pushing in. Something might happen in the game that will get out of your control, and you might need to push. You might need to be the one going in and putting pressure. And the Roon does that badly, because you'll either be doing that by going backward, or which will make you very slow, or you'll be going in with a third of your power, of your firepower, which is also very bad in my opinion. That's why it's down here. I don't think it deserves being down here if it wasn't for that, basically. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know if you want to see tier 10, since it was the last clan battles. I kind of enjoyed playing them a lot, besides getting shit on by the CV. That was really fun all the time. FDR is balanced, by the way. And thanks. See you next time.